Hey everyone, Lauren here, and today I'm going to show you how to make my family's recipe for brownies. So there's three main points we're going to go over today. One is going to be preparing before you make your brownies. Second is going to be how to actually make the batter, and third is going to be how to bake the brownies once you have the batter made. So to prepare, the first thing I always do is wash my hands, which I've already done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to preset my oven and preheat it at 375 degrees so that by the time we're done making our batter, we'll be all ready to put them in the oven and the oven will be warm. So the next thing I do to prepare is I actually measure out all my ingredients ahead of time. And I've already done that here, as you can see. So we're ready to start making our batter. And I'll kind of talk about the ingredients as we go. So here I have 6 eggs that I've pre-cracked into a bowl. I'm just going to add those into my big bowl here. And I have 3 cups of sugar. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix those together with my hand beaters here. Oops, lost the beater. There we go. All right, now that I've got those combined, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And I'm going to add in my chocolate and butter here that I have mixed together. Now this is 1.5 sticks of butter, and it's 8 squares of unsweetened baker's chocolate that you can find at just your regular grocery store. And I've melted it in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes, stirring it after about 30 seconds so that we don't burn our chocolate because it gets kind of bitter and yucky if you burn your chocolate. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. And I've also let that cool, this chocolate mixture, by putting it in the refrigerator, because if you add hot butter and chocolate into your eggs mixture here, it can actually scramble your eggs, and that's disgusting when you have scrambled eggs in brownies. So we want to make sure that cools down. And then we're just going to combine again. Alrighty. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in my flour. So I have 2 cups of flour, and I also have a teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of salt in here that I'm just going to add right into my flour. And then I'm going to add my flour in 2 batches. So I'm going to add half and stir or beat it together, and then I'm going to add the other half just so that it doesn't make a mess adding it all at once. Alright, and now I'm going to add in my second half of my flour and mix that together. Alright, so I've got my batter all mixed together, but as you can see, there's kind of like some flour that gets stuck to the side of the bowl. We want to make sure that we get all that mixed in. So I'm just going to use my spatula to scrape the sides and get all of our ingredients down in there. There we go. And then I'm going to give it one last mix with my hand mixer here. Alright, that should do that. So that's our batter. Now we want to get ready to bake. So I've got my glass baking pan here, and it's an 11 by 15 inch pan. And I want to spray it down with some baking spray. I'm actually going to do it over my sink so I don't make a mess. But you want to make sure that you get all of the corners of your pan good because you don't want your brownies to stick. So once you get that sprayed down, you're just going to get your batter in there. Try to scrape it all out with your spatula. And just spread it nice and evenly in your pan. You don't want it to be like higher on one end than on the other. You want it to try to be nice and as even as you can get it. There we go, get it into the corners. Perfect. Okay. Now that I've got that spread in there, I'm going to go ahead and pop this in my oven, which we had preheating at 375, so it should be good to go. So I'm going to open that up, pop it in, and 40 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer so that I don't forget, because sometimes I do forget when I put stuff in there. So I got my kitchen timer set for 40 minutes. Now we just wait. I'm gonna clean up here a little bit and I'll check back with you in about 40 minutes when those brownies should be done. All right, so it's been about a half hour. My timer just went off on the oven, but before we get those out, I just wanna go over the 3 main points that we talked about today. So first was being prepared before you start making your brownies. Second was making the batter, and third was baking the brownies. So now that we've gone over that, I'm gonna grab these brownies out of the oven, and I've got some hot pads here on my counter so that when I put the brownies on there, it doesn't get too hot on my countertop. So I'm just gonna set these on there. And I'm gonna turn off my oven so that I don't forget, because I've actually forgotten before and left it on for like 3 hours. But to make sure that these are done, I can tell I've made these enough just by really looking at them and touching the top, and it doesn't spring back. It feels nice and firm underneath, so I can tell that they're done. But if you don't feel comfortable with doing that, you can always just take a toothpick and stick it in and pull it out. And if there's any brownie on the toothpick, then you know that it needs to go back in for a couple minutes, and then when you bring them out again, just check them and make sure that the toothpick comes out clean. But like I said, these should be good. They're nice and firm on the top. I'm just gonna let these cool for a while, and then I'm gonna cut them up and they'll be ready to eat. So I hope you enjoy them.